So my name's imfine, and I make electronic, indie music, hip-hop music, and I guess whatever comes to mind. I really try to delve into some genres, I really was into EDM a while ago, but I was really bad at making it. I learned the tips and tricks of that and kind of applied it to indie music and hip-hop music and music that's outside of its genre, so I can really get a good blend of sounds and stuff like that. I focus on the melody more than anything, and I really like dreamy kind of ethereal melodies that make you feel like you're in a trance and make the sound of the music kind of feel like you're in it, like it's an experience rather than just a beat. I would say I try to make all my lyrics personal. I try to make them, connect to the experiences that I've had and hopefully connect to the experiences that other people have had. For my last EP, I drew a lot from a lot of modern psychedelic bands like MGMT or Tame Impala, or some of the old classics like Hendrix or White Album Beatles. Anything that I've really been exposed to in my life, I'll take little bits of that and apply it to my music. So that intro part kind of it introduces the idea of figuring new things out. We can't pretend like we know where we were before we had this realization. We can't pretend like we know our own self-worth. It always changes. And so it's kind of talking about how different your perspective now versus then can be. It's the difference between those two things.
I think that it's time we stop pretending. Bite the bullet and complete this present sentence.
When you say, I think that it's time we stop pretending and, bite the bullet, it's like, stop pretending about who you think you are, what you think you are, just figure out yourself in the moment and complete the prison sentence. Do whatever task is ahead of you or, get through life.
Losing my balance on the knife's edge, falling off back, losing my absent mind in my head, falling off back.
When I'm talking about losing my balance on the knife's edge, that's saying, when you're balancing on a knife's edge, that's kind of what it's like walking through life. You're right in the middle of either falling in between two paths, and it's like you really don't know which one you're gonna end up on. So you just feel like you're falling off of it, and life's gonna take you where it takes you. There's no predicting.
Holding on to someone at the end of a rope. I'm out of reach and he's losing hope. I'm running out of oxygen, he says. I'm running out of oxygen. Letting go of someone I would never know again.
When you're talking about the other person who's running out of oxygen, that's like you're talking about your former self. You're cutting it off, but you're still trying to grip onto it. It's like your past self is suffocating and you're not sure whether you should let it die or whether you should hold on to it. And that's kind of the struggle of epiphany. You don't know whether you should continue with this new mindset that you have or whether you should try to stay true to yourself or whatever you thought yourself was.
Echo from afar at the edge of my mind. This must be the feeling at the end of the line. It's just a chemical.
This feeling of being at the end of things, like after you've gotten rid of your old ideas and rejected your past self, you feel like you're at the end of the line, like you've completed that epiphany, you're done with that, and you're a new person now, but it still feels so strange. The feeling that you get that's so profound is just a chemical in your brain. Like, it's not that deep, bro. That's the song. When it comes to indie, I feel like I personally would love to see it on the radio, and listen to these artists that I gain a lot of inspiration from, really blowing up and doing numbers. But I feel like for the core fans of indie, it might upset them because it's like, oh, I listened to them before they were on the radio. And so it'll become a huge deal with whether someone listened to it before it was cool or after it was cool, and it's going to become one of those mainstream kind of genres. And I feel like that's a double-edged sword. It can do harm to this genre, but it can also really give it some exposure. And there's kind of a thrill for playing music in front of people. I wrote my first song in like 8th grade and performed it in front of my whole class, except my mic was off, thank God, because my voice was terrible back then. That feeling of being able to write something and play it and sing it on stage is just something that I've never really felt before, and so that really drove me to want to create.
What inspired the echo delay that you have that transitions between different verses?
I listened to it and it felt very just empty in the transitions, so I would take little vocal chops and samples, and then I would echo them like with the delay section, but I would also increase the formant, so you'd hear kind of a trippy kind of effect in the vocals as it echoes, so it kind of allows the verses to transition into each other better. Watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. Shout out Aries IX, shout out Ramzoid. That's basically like how I started really getting into it is just watching people making beats on YouTube, and it's strangely satisfying to watch them even from a non-producer perspective. But when you really get into the fine details of what they're doing and you translate that into your own music, then you can really expand your sound in a way that's kind of unexpected. But I got an EP out called End of World. It's a indie pop psychedelic rock kind of EP. If you dig the music, follow me on Twitter, Colton_Cosby. Add me on MySpace, LinkedIn, send me a messenger pigeon. All the socials down here. I like that. All right.
Anything else you want to talk about?
The Earth is dying.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let that one sit in the air for a second.
that one kind of sucks.
Yeah.